So, first of all, I would like for District 1 candidates, Marty Bruce, Danny Crawford, Dr. Wayne Reynolds, and Chris Seibert to come forward. And so I can keep up with it. Marty, Bruce, would you take the seat on the end? Danny, the second seat. Dr. Reynolds, this seat. And Chris Seibert, the seat on the end. Okay. All right, now this is the 1 minute response. At this time, Marty Bruce, would you just tell the audience who you are or whatever statement you want to make? And you can slide the mic down in front of you.
First off, I want to thank the ladies for the food tonight. I don't want to take any chances. I'm Marty Bruce. I worked with the police department for 29 and a half years. I'm a product of Athens City Schools. I graduated from Athens High School. I went on to get my bachelor's degree from Athens State University here. It was Athens State College then. And then I have a master's degree in justice and public safety from Auburn University at Montgomery. Now, y'all are going to think this is a little strange. I have two daughters that are attending the University of Alabama, and I'm definitely an Alabama fan. Hopefully that don't affect anything, but I'm spending a lot of money there. My wife, Donna, we've been married for 21 years. I do have two daughters, Bethany and Katie. Bethany is a member of the $1 Million Band at the University of Alabama, and Katie is a freshman at the University of Alabama.
Thank you, Marty. At this time, I will ask Danny Crawford to make his 1 minute spiel.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm Danny Crawford. I've been a resident of Athens for the last 35 years. Grew up in Limestone County, went to Auburn, did my graduate work, got my master's there, came back and worked in Athens for 25 years. Went to Montgomery as state director of an agency, appointed by President Bush, and stayed there 8 years and retired and love Athens, Alabama. Athens has been great to me, great to my family. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise your family, to worship. It's a great place for your kids to live and also raise their family, for your grandkids can be close by. That's why I want to run for city council, to maintain that quality of life that's so important to folks in Athens. If you haven't made up your mind yet on who you want to vote for, I ask you to consider me. If there is a runoff and your candidate doesn't make it, I ask for your consideration again. I appreciate the opportunity and thank everyone who put this on and everyone who's attending. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Dr. Wayne Reynolds, to my right.
Hi, I'm Wayne Reynolds, and in absence of food, I want to introduce my wife, Carol. Stand up, because she does my food. I'm the oldest of 12 children. I actually grew up in Columbus, Georgia. Joined the United States Army in '66. I'm a Vietnam combat veteran. I served as a combat medic in Vietnam. I came back and went to the University of Georgia. Eventually became a school superintendent in Tarrant and was a school superintendent here. And then I got my RN, which I still carry. I worked at Athens Limestone Hospital for a while. I have two children. Both of them are graduates of the University of Alabama, even though my doctorate's from Auburn. And Paige lives in Madison. She's a rocket scientist kind of person. And my son Wesley is a captain in the Air Force, and he just got stationed at a very tough place called Nellis Air Force Base, Las Vegas, where he is a neurologist. I have been here since 1988. I didn't even get to start a new sentence.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Chris Seibert.
I'm Chris Seibert. I'm a 1993 graduate of West Limestone High School. Went on to the University of Alabama, where I graduated in '97, played 4 years of football for Coach Gene Stallings. From there, I commissioned into the Air Force and served 7.5 years as an officer in the Air Force, stationed at some also great spots like Lodges Field Air Base in the middle of the Atlantic. And did that for 7.5 years, had a great time doing that. My wife and I saw the world, and then went into the private sector, where I've been in the surgical and medical device business for about 7 or 8 years now, and moved into leadership roles there. Definitely feel as though I have a service before self attitude and a business background, and I would certainly appreciate your support on August 28th.
Thank you, Chris. All right, now we will start with the first question. I will read the question slowly. Be sure to listen to it, and then each one will be expected to respond, beginning with Marty. The city is moving forward with a plan to go green through its use of compressed natural gas, and is making plans for a fast-fill compressed natural gas station that would provide the only filling station for CNG-powered vehicles between Birmingham and Nashville. Is this the best use of city funds? Why or why not? Beginning with Marty.
Excuse me, compressed natural gas. I think that if we can move some city vehicles, the city school bus fleet and those kind of things to that type of fuel, it may be a good thing. I'm not sure how many people or how many vehicles use that now. So I think what we need to do in the city of Athens is put our funds more toward the basic services, the basic things that we need as citizens, like the library. If we're going to do that, we need to fund our basic services like the police, the fire, our sanitation, all of those things, education. We need to be sure and fund those before we branch out into something that big.
Thank you. Danny Crawford.
Well, natural gas is something that is very cheap, and there's a lot of it, and there's opportunities there. And I'm sure the city of Fort Fathers have studied that and looked at it, and there's a cost return factor. I don't know all the facts, so I can't really speak as an authority on that, but Athens and the natural gas and gas city has been on the cutting edge of gas and technology. And if we're the first, there will be a second. Folks will start using it more if it's available, and I'm sure they've looked at it to pay for itself in a certain period of time. And I would think that they would not even consider it if it was going to be taken away from other services that our citizens are used to, good quality services. And but natural gas is something in the future, and as we're continue to be dependent on foreign oil, it's something that sometimes it's a little tough on the front end to do things like that. It'll pay you dividends in the long run.
Thank you, Danny. Dr. Miller.
I think that the city got a pretty good grant to put this program in. I think it's good publicity to be the first. You know, like CNG is a product most of us have no idea about. And certainly I don't have any idea that it'll work in any of my automobiles. But I'm naturally concerned that going forward that we look at how other green investments have turned out for our nation. And I would be cautious as your city councilman about how we went forward and what other cost relationships are. You know, as a school superintendent, I often was enticed into programs on grant money, but then when the grant ran out and we were expected to carry out the program, sometimes some tough decisions have to be made. And I'm sure if I'm on the council and I'm having to make those decisions going forward, I am going to be very, very concerned about infrastructure, about the school system, and if they do convert, what are the costs of convergence, and the library and the other things that we all depend on a day-to-day basis. Athens is a wonderful place to live. When I first came here, I worked with Lakin Collins and others in helping to develop industry. And what people come to town for in this town is a good school system, a good infrastructure where their children are safe and they feel safe. Public safety and the fire department are critical in what people decide. I've heard a lot of quotes about what makes people come here. What made me come here was the fact that and I had the chance to go somewhere else at the same time, was that my children would be safe. My daughter actually went all the way through school and got a master's degree and works in a very good paying job. And my son got an education to be competitive to all. My wife and I love it here. We don't intend to go anywhere else. This is the place we've chosen. You know, unlike some people else, I got to choose to come here, and I'm very happy that I chose to come to Athens, Alabama.
Thank you, Dr. Chris Simon.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, much like everyone said, compressed natural gas to me is a good idea. It's I'm going to support green initiatives, LEED certified buildings, compressed natural gas, clean burning fuels, because it makes sense for our environment and makes sense if you can make an economic argument. To Dr. Reynolds' point, the upfront cost certainly being taken care of by a grant. But I think you also have to consider the ongoing cost, maintenance cost, the cost to convert the vehicles to this, because I don't think that's really inexpensive. But as a general principle, I think green initiatives are a good thing for our community and our environment. And if it has sound business principles, if it makes economic sense, then I'm going to support initiatives like that.
All right, thank you. All right, question number 2, beginning with Marty. Current city leadership has worked with Keep Athens Limestone Beautiful to address the continuing litter problem in the city. The sight of litter can be seen along the city's major corridors and could serve as a deterrent to potential residents and businesses alike. What steps will you take as a city council member to crack down on this problem?
While I worked at the police department, I spent a lot of time working on clean community things and working with Keep Athens Limestone Beautiful. I think that's a very important thing that we need to be doing. We need to maybe have we could possibly hire some temporary workers or use more inmates, which would be my first suggestion, would be to use more inmates to go out and clean up the streets, picking up trash and litter and trying to keep those things clean. One of the things that I did when I was at the police department was to enlist the help of RSVP to get volunteers from the RSVP program to go around throughout the city. They would ride around in the city and they would look for violations of our clean community ordinances. And there are a lot of people that would volunteer to do that, and to continue to do that. They would come back with a list of violations and things that needed to be corrected, and then we would turn those over to the clean community officers, the officers that were in charge of code enforcement. So I think that's something that could be expanded on to make sure that we get things cleaned up.
Thank you. Danny Crawford.
You know, we've had problems like this forever, and we'll probably continue to have them, and we just have to figure out ways that we can educate our people. There's a lot of programs in schools that we can get our children to get more conscious of it. They can get on their mom and dad when they throw something out the window. It's just an education and a communication problem. And Athens has a lot of pride and ownership. You can ride around Athens, people are proud of their homes and they take good care of them. We've got some lots and things that maybe people see them that aren't maintained, and it's expensive to do so. But someone who can throw something out on the street, I hope they're not a resident of Athens, Alabama. I hope they're just driving through, they don't come back. But it is a problem that we need to have education, and picking things up, some kind of a program, adopt some areas, get some organizations that might adopt some streets and things like that, get church groups, youth groups, Boy Scout groups to adopt some areas and get some signs made to help keep those areas picked up, those kind of things all together. And And then us, when we see something on the way down the road that looks bad, let's stop and pick it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Dr. Reynolds?
Yeah, I agree that education has been a key, and when I was superintendent, part of that education was trying to make students understand, who are now older and more competent, and having their own children learn about keeping our roads clean. Another avenue in addition to that was in District 1, we obviously have some neighborhood formats that would work very well in making sure the neighborhoods are clean and the roads around them. We have had adopt-a-school programs for a long time. We had Sparky. Do any of y'all remember Sparky? Yeah, some of y'all remember Sparky, and the clean community person. You know, we have had issues like that which went into schools and helped educate people. But the real essence of keeping the community clean is the pride that each of us have in our own community. If we don't throw out trash and we're willing to work in our neighborhoods to clean up the other areas around us, then the problem will decrease. It has been a problem for a long time, but as I ride the streets, and I have been walking the streets, I see much less trash than I did when I first moved here in 1988. So I think it is a concern, but I think we are making a lot of progress. I think that there are a lot of things that have added to Athens. As Athens has become more of a bedroom community, people know that in quality of life, a clean street, a clean community, a community that's respected is important. And so with the combination of adoptive schools, adoptive streets, even with the Rotary Club and other functions in churches, I used to see more signs now about the adoptive streets than I do now. But we could formulate that program back. But mostly teach pride in the schools, teach pride in the community, and from the city council, show a sense of pride in every meeting. Maybe develop some awards out of the city council to foster that as an important aspect of the city council's governance.
Thank you. Chris Cyber.
Somebody likes this mic. He's possessive of it. Clean community comes down to community pride. Everybody said it, but I really think it starts as a child, and I think it's one of those things you learn. I mean, as a government, it's a basic service, and I think everybody expects it. You want a clean community to live in. It helps you attract tourism. It helps you attract industry. It helps you attract new residents. So it's a basic service and a basic expectation of anybody within any given community. I mean, I think there's the primary way is, in a perfect world, you address it through education and as a sense of pride for your community. And that starts at an early age, as I said. I don't think most of the time trash thrown into a community is probably thrown by the residents of that community. It's probably somebody passing through. So there is going to be a need as well to have additional services to go around and take care of that. I think inmate labor, supervised inmate labor, is a great source of that. I think just having a street sweepers that can take care of the problem is certainly a way to do it. And just the basic service of keeping the community clean and instilling that sense of pride within the citizens, though, is the most important way to take care of it, in my opinion.
Thank you. Now we're going to the wild card question. All right. Marty Bruce. In a recent interview with Entertainment Magazine, Uncut, the up-and-coming Athens-based rock group Alabama Shakes described the city as, quote, a large truck stop, end quote, and were critical of the city because it offers few entertainment alternatives for those in their late teens or early 20s. Many younger residents may be spending their dollars in Madison, Huntsville, Birmingham, or Nashville. What specific steps would you take to keep those tax dollars in Athens? Marty Bruce.
Well, I've said this from the beginning of my campaign, that we need to look at ways to bring more retail and more opportunities into the city of Athens for our children. I mean, I have a vested interest in that because I have two daughters that are away at school right now. And they're learning about a bigger city and all of the things that they can do in that bigger city. I want them to come back to Athens and stay. I want them to come back to Athens and work. I don't want to have to go, 2-3 hours to see my grandchildren, 4 hours. Hopefully grandchildren are a little farther off, but not in distance, but in time having those grandchildren. But we need to work with and look at talking to builders. We need to talk to developers, and we need to talk to retail businesses and entertainment things to see what we need to do as a city to bring more retail and more entertainment opportunities here. We have a lot of good things that are going on. The Grease Festival that's coming up, Arts on the Square that's coming up. Those are all great things, but what if we expanded that to do one big, huge thing for different venues, different audiences? We could have something for country music at one spot, music for teenagers that they enjoy at the sportsplex. You'd obviously need more room down there. But just do different things that would draw different people instead of just doing, I guess, a single audience event.
Thank you. I was just remembering something that I read once. About 1861, there was a northern reporter that came to Athens. I suppose he was following the Yankee Army. And he described Athens as a, quote, shabby little town. Danny Crawford, in your allotted time, how would you describe Athens, Alabama to a complete stranger?
Wow. Athens is very unique, and it's a great place with family values, and I think that's what makes Athens really special. Family values in the last 10 or 12 years has really been something that's fallen apart. We need to get it more involved, and I think if someone looks at Athens and they see what we have to offer, the location sells itself. Pride and ownership of homes and people that keep their property values, their property cleaned up, and things like that is also a big selling point. We have interstates that can get to Nashville to see George Jones if he'll show up, or to Birmingham, things like that. We've got a great airport here. We've got a great university right here we're in tonight. So there's things that people, or education is second to none, and all these are documented. You can get the facts out and show them that you're in the top 10 education, and what this university has done for North Alabama is remarkable. And so everything is great, and all you got to do is just come here, talk to a few of the people, go to church on Sunday, and be part of it.
Thank you. I wish I knew who that reporter was. I wonder if he had any family that stayed down here. Okay, wild card question.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Reynolds.
All right.
The city is preparing to hold the inaugural Athens Grease Festival next month. Though a recent study by the Center for Disease Control found that Alabama is 4th in terms of adult obesity. Do you view this event as all in good fun, or do you fear it could bring unwarranted attention from health-conscious critics?
Well, I think it's in good fun, obviously, and I could afford to. I'm going to go, and I'm going to be worried about my weight afterward. But it's kind of like when you go to the fair, or when you go to any of the events at Athens State, the annual Fiddlers Convention. Sometimes you just have to relax and have a good time, and that's what I think Athens is. To me, Athens is loving each other and having a sense of humor. And bless their hearts, I have to deal with a lot of Yankees, and I go see some of them, and I have to teach them y'all and all that stuff. And I think that if people outside of this community don't understand us, that's sometimes their problem. But I love all about Athens, and I love my food. And my son comes home from wherever he is, and he likes his mother's home cooking. And I frankly don't understand the deal. If we get if the NBC and CBS and all those other folks come to eat our greasy food, our problem will be probably getting rid of them, because they'll find out it's a lot better. It's like when you try to teach them to eat grits. If you ever teach a Yankee to eat grits, he'll have grits every morning for breakfast. But quite seriously, I think that this festival is a thinking out of the box idea to help sell Athens. And anything that sells Athens, that's creative and where people can have fun, they'll come back and enjoy. And my family grows up having fun. My son comes back, my daughter stays here, and the reason I'm here is because I enjoy Athens. And even to some degree, even answering these questions. Because I started to wear my seersucker suit, and I'm glad you wore yours, because I was afraid that I'd be out of place. But I've never felt out of place in Athens.
Well, Dr. Reynolds, you just lost the Yankee vote.
That's good, they're not registered.
And if I'm living on Elk River, I can't vote here now.
I like it.
And about the Grease Festival, you've got Trish Black back there smiling like a cat.
Where's Chris? Raise your hand.
Trish.
There you go. Trish. I like it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Chris Seibert, wild card question. Last year, the city hired a consulting firm as part of a community image building campaign as a means to promote the city to not only residents but potential visitors. As an elected official, what specific steps would you take to market the city to outside visitors and businesses? What strengths would you focus on?
I think there's, if you're from an economic development standpoint, there's really 4 factors I think you focus on. One is infrastructure. Do you have the necessary infrastructure to address the demands of whatever industry you're trying to recruit? The second would be incentives. What type of incentives package are you offering? Everybody offers it. You know, the people that win big contracts, long-term industrial development contracts, it typically comes down to incentives in the end. So you obviously have to make smart decisions about that, not erode your tax base, but also try to gain good jobs and for your citizens at the same time. Quality of life, another initiative that you look at from any type of industry you're trying to attract, whether it's tourism industry, you're trying to, any type of retail, what type of quality of life would be enjoyed by the employees of a business if I dropped it into Athens, Alabama? A big thing we should focus on because we've got it. Final thing would be, what's the quality of your workforce? Is it educated? Is it blue collar? Is it white collar? I think Athens has a nice mix of both. Those are things that need to be highlighted to recruit jobs across all sectors, whether it's retail, whether it's industrial type work, whether it's white collar, blue collar work, regardless. All of those things are things that Athens offers. We have a great hospital. For its size, it's recognized as one of the best hospitals in the state, lowest infection rates. We have one of the best school systems in the state. I think that's something we could certainly highlight. We have a university here in town that can partner with any type of business for continuing education, as well as Calhoun just right down the street. And finally, we're building a showcase library, which I think we all know is going to be a flagship institution right downtown and could really, really help us drive the type of industrial growth we want. So I think those are the things that I would highlight in addition to just all the things we've kind of laughed about that makes Athens a great place.
Okay, well, thank you, Chris. Gentlemen, I think you've done well for yourself, and let's give them a